Welcome to the Puberty Prof Podcast, where information and tools are shared to help you have conversations about puberty and other growing up topics. Here is your host, Lori Reichel, the Puberty Prof, a nationally recognized health educator, author of the award-winning book, Common Questions Children Ask About Puberty, and creator of the Talk Puberty app.
Hi, and welcome to the Puberty Prof Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lori Reichel, the Puberty Prof. As mentioned in the first episode of the Puberty Prof's Fall Series, episode number 66, this fall, I'm attempting to explain how the National Sexuality Education Standards can be used as a tool to talk with young people about puberty and other age and developmentally appropriate topics. One of these topics is under this umbrella of gender identity and expression. So that's what this episode is going to be focusing on. To help go over what's noted for the younger grades, I invited Carrie Burton. Carrie is the person behind Alphabet Soup, if I can only say correctly the first time, Alphabet Soup. And before we find out what Alphabet Soup and Carrie is all about, let me give her a chance to say hi to you all. So hi, Carrie.
Hello, it's great to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. I really, really am. And would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, including what the Alphabet Soup is?
Absolutely. So I'm Carrie Burton. I'm a certified sex educator and a certified relationship coach. I specialize in helping caregivers give sexuality and relationship education to their children of all ages. I'm a firm believer that sex ed starts at birth and does not end until we're in the grave. Never too early, never too late. And so I started Alphabet Soup specifically to be intentionally and deliberately trans and queer affirming, not just inclusive. I don't just throw in that us queer and trans folks exist, but affirming and making sure that everybody feels included in all of these conversations, because we should all be getting the same information. So I started Alphabet Soup LLC in January of 2020. We had an office space, pandemic started, things shifted, and everything has become virtual. And we still provide services through there for caregivers and for people of all ages.
And if I understand correctly, you also have some children, correct?
I do. I have 2 children. One of them is 17 and one of them is 15.
And if you're okay with me saying this, you homeschool your children.
I do. I have homeschooled their whole life, and they have had sex education their entire life. They're the sex ed friends. If you've watched Sex Education, Otis is a good example of my children, other than the unethical, like secretly making money off of giving the information.
Okay. And I wanted to raise that up, as long as you're comfortable with that. I wanted to raise that because I come from the K through 12 world. And sometimes there's this thought that people who homeschool their children and those of us that teach in the schools, we don't agree or we don't get along, which is so not true.
Not at all.
Well, thank you again for being here today, Carrie. And we're going to go to the gender identity and expression section of the National Sexuality Education Standards. So, and what I'll be doing is in this episode's description, I'll put a link for those standards. If you haven't seen the link in previous episodes, I'll put a link there, and I'll also note the page that we're talking about. It is, I don't have it on my screen, but I'll make sure I put it into the description. So we're going to first focus on the section of what is noted for what is appropriate for children to be able to do by the end of 2nd grade. And if you're unsure of the background for these standards, please listen to episode number 66. That's the episode in which I just give the background with one of the people that helped put the standards together, and that was Nora Gilprin. So do you mind reading the first one that you see there, Carrie?
Not at all. I'm going to note also, I include age ranges. I follow these standards with Alphabet Soup as well, but as a homeschooling parent, We don't always follow the exact grade levels. So I include also the age ranges. So the K through second grade level would be ages 5 through 8.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
Of course. And so the first one is in the core concepts, and that is define gender, gender identity, and gender role stereotypes.
I'm going to push a little further here. How do you define those terms for you? Like when you're putting things together for your population, your clients. I don't know what you call people when they go to the alphabetsoup.com website. And I'm going to have a link for your website definitely in the description.
Awesome. I usually refer to everybody as students because we're all learning still.
Okay, excellent.
Even if we know some of the information, we are all still learning, including myself. I've been studying this for 3 decades. But that doesn't mean I'm an expert on all of the things. I'm an expert in my field, but I can still learn things. So
excellent.
I would love to describe and define those for you. So for me, I describe gender. It is a social construct often assigned to babies when they are born. Gender can mean absolutely nothing to many people, and it can mean absolutely everything to somebody else, which is why we need to make sure we are respecting where everybody is with that. And then gender identity is how we know ourselves. So internally, what we feel of who we are. And then gender roles are the ideas, and this is specifically gender role stereotypes, is the judgments we have toward what other people might be doing with their life. Or if we hear what their gender is, that's the assumptions we make based on those gender labels.
Thank you. Very clear explanations there for each. So thank you for doing that, Carrie.
Absolutely.
The next one in this section for by the end of 2nd grade, in core concepts, it reads, discuss the range of ways people express their gender and how gender role stereotypes may limit behaviors. Now, some people might say, 2nd graders, 1st graders, can they understand that? What are your thoughts on that?
They absolutely can. So gender identity actually develops by age 3. We don't always recognize that our gender is not what was given at birth. So our parents and our caregivers, the people who are raising us and giving that gender at birth, sometimes they make an oopsie, and that's okay. Sometimes they make a mistake and they give us the wrong one. Just like a toddler wanting the blue cup and we give them the green cup. And, oh, sorry, I grabbed the wrong color. I can fix that. You get to decide who you are. You get to figure that out for yourself. And you know what? That's not actually who I am. And that's okay. Oops, we can move on with that. And so with the with kids understanding that, it's all around us. We assign these gender roles and these gender expression in the binary of boy versus girl. So we're giving this information to them already, and parents and caregivers often overthink it when we discuss when people don't fit into the cisnormative binary.
So I'm a very literal person. I've always been that way. And I also, when I see a word, I have to say it as it's spelled out, like not always phonetically correct. One thing that I get confused about, I'm supportive of them for celebration, but when people are about to have a birth and they have gender reveal parties, would the better term be the biological sex versus gender?
To be quite frank, those are actually genital reveal parties.
Okay. To hear more on this topic, listen to the full episode on your favorite podcast platform. And remember to check out the Talk Puberty app. Thanks for listening to this part of this episode, and have a happy and healthy day.
Thank you for listening to the Puberty Prof Podcast, where information and tools are shared to help you have conversations about puberty and other growing up topics. Did you enjoy this episode? Please like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also follow the Puberty Prof on Twitter or Instagram. The Puberty Prof, Lori Reichel, wants to hear from you. Go to pubertyprof.com or click on the link in this episode's description. There you can find more information, as well as ask questions to be answered by the Puberty Prof in a future episode. That's pubertyprof.com. Also, remember to check out the Talk Puberty app and the book, Common Questions Children Ask About Puberty. Until next time, this is the Puberty Prof Podcast, where information and tools are shared to help you have conversations about puberty and other growing up topics.